Hello and welcome. As you can see, today is not exactly a happy video because I did unfortunately lose Sailor. She was very old. She was 2 weeks away from her third birthday when I made the decision to let her go. But yeah, I just wanted to do a little tribute video for her and talk about her a little bit because I did have her for so long, and I just try to do what feels right when it comes to when one of my rats passes and making the announcements, which in this case does mean doing a full tribute video for my little Say. So yeah, let's get into it. So I brought Sailor home in March of 2021. She was almost 6 weeks old. The breeder I got her from wasn't entirely upfront about the fact that they weren't 6 weeks old when I was talking to her. But yeah, so she was a very small little baby. And pretty much immediately, the second I tried to do intros with her, I was just like, oh no, because she was a little terror. She liked to beat up Humdrum in particular. Humdrum was always her favorite punching bag. She did not like the other rats. She spent a lot of time alone after intros, which were very shaky intros. Like, I was surprised I even managed to get them all together. And after that, I think she was like under 12 weeks old for sure. She was like maybe 10 weeks old the first time I told Cappy, oh, I think I'm going to have her spayed. And I did end up having to have her spayed at 6 months old for aggression. And I hoped at that time, sorry, I'm just watching these videos, so my little cutie. And I was hoping at that time that I'd be able to integrate her back into the main group, but I could not. So I ended up separating her with her two sisters, Riff Raff and Heidi. And the three of them lived together for the next year and a half and some change, maybe. The three of them got along very beautifully because Heidi knew how to deal with Sailor and Riff Raff knew how to stay out of the way, which is exactly what Sailor needed. She was a boss. She was a queen. She liked things her way. She liked things to come to her easily, and she was not afraid to throw her weight around when she didn't get her way. And she was a difficult rat. I'm not gonna lie. She would scratch my face and she'd try to bite my eyelids, but she was also a great rat. She was kissy. She was good with her sisters. She was sweet. Like, yeah, I had to buy a whole new cage for her and separate her out, but like, I loved her. She was worth it. She was worth all the trouble she put me through. Her sisters both passed away in the summer of 2023, which was really hard on her. Like, it was when Heidi died, her personality just kind of mellowed out a little. And then when Riff Raff died, she just kind of stopped fighting. She accepted new friends pretty easily because she just didn't want to be alone. She was old and she was lonely and she missed her sisters. And I did too, honestly. It was so sad seeing her by herself. And then after they passed away and I got them with Grant and Lockley, that's when her HLD started to really make itself known. Like, because when Heidi and Riff Raff were no longer with us, she wasn't trying to move around as much, which led to her losing some of the strength in her legs, which were already affected by the HLD. And, we accommodated for her as best we could. We made a ton of cage modifications. We tried to make sure she could climb, that she could get into the hammocks. But in the last 2 weeks, she declined very, very rapidly. There's a chance that, her kidney function just completely failed her. There's a chance that she had a very small stroke. With how quickly it happened, I don't know what caused the decline. I just know that she could no longer get up into the hammock. She could no longer climb. She was having a lot of difficulty walking to the point where sometimes she couldn't even make it to the front of the cage. And I couldn't make her live like that. So I decided to bring her in and have her put to sleep, which was very hard. I love my rats a lot, and I had Sailor for a long time. I adored her in all of her difficulties. She was easily my hardest rat to work with, but I would have done it for 10 more years and never complained. So I'm very sad that she's gone. Cappy, who's also very close to her, will miss her a lot. And I'm just happy that I got to have her for so long, that she gave me so much time, and that she can now be at rest.
Cappy here. So I'm not doing great with this, but I wanted to say something. that Sailor was probably the most difficult rat I have personally ever encountered in my entire life. From minute one to minute done, it was just constant strife and chaos. And I guess I just want to share my favorite memory of her, which was when she was in the worst of her uh-oh phase. When I sat down on Sarah's bed and she was going through this thing where she was like rage picking up bedding and shoving it out of the bars, and I was trying to put it back in the bars, and she kept like running up on the cage and hissing at me and stuff and just threatening my life generally. And I knew I should have stepped away, but I didn't. And I kept putting the bedding back, and it was a little funny to me. Probably mean in hindsight, I don't know, but I love her a lot, even though she was so problematic all the time. She was a special rat, and in my opinion, she beat kind of all the odds. Being better after she got spayed and stuff, and finally finding more rats to be with after Riff Raff and Heidi died. And Grant loves her so much. Grant's not doing great right now emotionally without Sailor, and neither am I, frankly. But she was a good rat. Not in practice, but in spirit. And I'd kill any human being on the planet, including Sarah, to get her back. Because frankly, she deserves to be here more than most people, I think. And, I'm looking at her face now as I'm talking, and that's making it a lot worse, actually. But I'm glad I knew her, even though she threatened to kill me and my family. And I wish that she was still here for me to pick up and put in her hammock, because she can't get there on her own. Well, I'll miss her.